Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Coaches Close Clients podcast. Today, we're here with Nicholas Bayerle, who sold over 600 high-ticket packages and is truly a leader in this field, especially in the fitness space. So thanks so much for being here and willing to share all your insights with us.
Absolutely. I love high ticket. I think it's one of the best things, especially for coaches, that they can do because it's immediate cash. It's an ability to create a transformation for someone. It truly is the best thing for the client as well. So really excited to be here. And again, for everyone that's listening, my life changed in one moment. I'm sure we'll get into it. Legitimately, like changed negatively in one moment where I gained 60 pounds, which I'm sure if you're a coach, you are someone who's gone through something before, overcame it, and now you're teaching people. I've gained 60 pounds from one moment, but also my life changed for the positive in one moment as well. So don't overlook listening to podcasts like this because it could just be that one little thing that just tips you over the edge that boom creates the breakthrough for you. So that's what we're going to try to do here today.
Wow, awesome. So yeah, let's get into it then. Share with us a bit about your story, what that moment was for you, and how you got to where you are today.
So I'm actually speaking at an event this next month called Funnel Hacking Live, and it's in front of 5,000 people. And I specifically got invited about talking about how do you get your mess to your message and then how to be a power couple. But mess to message is so big, so I'm going to go through that. But I want people to actually listen to what I'm saying rather than just or why I'm saying it rather than what I'm saying. And so because when you share your story, you get people to connect with you. This is a great way for them to attract high ticket clients, right? So for me, I didn't grow up in a perfect family. My parents actually broke up when I was 4 years old. My stepmom moved in right away. And so I automatically felt super uncomfortable, had a bunch of issues going on, like broken family, all these different things, to the point where by 7 years old, I wrote my first suicide letter. I was just so done with everything. I didn't feel comfortable at my dad's house. I didn't know what the heck to do at my mom's house. I didn't know who to call mom. All the issues in the world. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that have grown up without the perfect family situation. But throughout that whole time, I was always trying to be a high performer. I wanted to be the best motocross racer in the world. I started at 4 years old. And I remember at 13 years old, through times of depression and times of not knowing what the heck's going on in my life and feeling uncomfortable, struggling with anxiety, struggling with depression, all these different problems, I still had this underlying thing where I wanted to be great. And I remember trying to express that to my dad. I pretty much did everything for my dad's approval. And I found that with a lot of men, actually. And I work with men specifically with the Billion Dollar Brotherhood, is that we look up to our father and we're trying so hard to get their approval and trying to get them to actually just give us attention, right? They say that for attention, men die for it and babies cry for it, which is a pretty powerful statement. Babies cry for attention. If you give a baby attention for crying, it'll cry for attention. It's better to give people attention when they're doing something well. That's a side teaching point. So I remember going to my dad and I said, Dad, I want to be the best motocross racer in the world. I'm going to quit school. We're going to go and get a tutor. We're going to travel and I'm going to give it everything. Because I thought this is the one thing that's really going to get him to approve of me. Turned around, he looked at me and he said, you'll never be the best. And it just crushed me. It was like the straw that broke the camel's back. I just completely went into depression. Didn't talk to my dad for 3.5 years. Gained 60 pounds. At this point, by the time I graduated high school, I had no girlfriend for 7 years. I was failing in my health. I was 60 pounds overweight. And by the time I got out of high school or even past that, I had no job and no income, to the point where I got married at 19. I lost the weight, had a transformation. I ended up finding my ideal woman, tracking the woman of my dreams. And from there, getting married and still had no income. And so when I talk about being a three-dimensional businessman now inside of our company, it's because I failed in every area: health, wealth, and relationships. I went 3 years in business trying to close high-ticket clients like you're teaching. That's why I love podcasts like this, without making more than $3,000 in a month in 3 years. That was the struggle, and it was super real.
Wow. So what was it that took you out of that? What was the mindset shift and what was that moment that got you to shift how you were doing things?
So this is something a little bit new that I'm talking about, but I found that there's two different types of people out there. There's people that are motivated and don't have a plan. That was me when I wanted to get healthy. I didn't really know that I was overweight or how to change it. I didn't really know how to go out there and create wealth. And so what ended up happening, I was motivated to go get it, but I didn't have a plan to follow to actually get there. The second person knows how to go out there and get results, but doesn't have any motivation. Now, the key factor in both these types of people is that what they're missing is the exact outcome that they're looking to create, that when they see the plan, because let's say I wanted to get healthy. I just got done doing push-ups, you saw right here. And I didn't know what outcome I was looking to create. If I knew how to get shredded, if I knew how to lose weight, if I knew how to be a bodybuilder, I knew how to get there, but I wasn't sure what I wanted. I would go and do one workout one way, a different way, and just be like confused at the end of the day because I don't know the outcome that I'm looking to produce. Everything starts with the outcome that you're looking to produce. Then from there, the motivation comes. So when you know the outcome you're looking to produce and you have the plan to get there, the motivation comes. If you have motivation, then all it takes is a good plan that gives you clarity on where you want to go to actually get to where you want to go. So ultimately for me, from there, it all came down to mentors, high-level mentors that were further, faster than I was, a peer group, people that were running in the same speed as me, and then step-by-step game plans, something to take action on that I knew was going to get me to my desired result.
Awesome. And do you think that a lot of coaches are kind of stuck in that because they don't have the clarity or they haven't really followed the mentors? Or what do you think it is that has people kind of stuck in that period of time before they're getting into the high ticket space?
Absolutely. So we have a lot of men inside of our community, like over 2,200 right now, active men that are consistently out there, like building businesses. And a big majority of those are in a coaching space, high ticket space, whether it's a digital marketing agency or whatever. And some of the main things that they struggle with actually aren't around the clarity of what they want. That is something that they kind of know. They're like, I want to make money. Like that's what they think they want at least. And so anyone who hasn't really made a lot of money, generally out of all the guys I've spoken to, number one thing they want to do is make money. That's what they want. Now the hard part, and that you've probably seen before, is that it's a lot different to sell someone else's stuff than your own. Like it's you think everyone else has it put together. You think everyone has a perfect website, a perfect product, a perfect backend, a seamless system. Nothing's wrong with it. It's perfected. Yet when you look at your own stuff, you see all the imperfections. And so when your friend comes out with a coaching program and they go, I'm the best in the world at this, you're like, yeah, you are. Like, this guy's amazing. And then when you talk to someone, you need to meet my friend. He's the best in the world at this because that person had conviction. This is a quote that every coach can write down. It's that if you speak something with enough confidence, enough times, it'll soon become truth. Even if people have no clue what it is, even if it's not truth, if you speak with enough confidence enough times, people just say like, this must be true. A lot of times it's hard for yourself because it's so easy to believe in other people's products. It's very hard, or it's just different to learn how to sell your own stuff. One system that I use that everyone can write down, please don't do this if you're on the road, that gave me confidence in my own product that allowed me to go from selling it for $1,500 to $3,600 to $5,000 to $7,500 to $12,500 for pretty much the same package. We were just able to change the deliverables and make it better for the actual client. And obviously for the people watching YouTube, the way that you price high ticket is you figure out what's the value, the highest amount of value that I can give someone for the actual investment. So as soon as the investment keeps going way higher than the value, that's when you stop, right? I don't just keep like charging $100,000 for a health coaching package if the value to the client doesn't go up. So I look for the peak because so many people out there lower their prices to try to make sure that the client's quote unquote happy, but they're not able to do as much of a deliverable, which is not giving the client the desired result that they're looking for. And so what's the most amount of value for the investment that I can create for the client? I guarantee you right now it's going to be more than what you're charging because you're trying to make the client happy or you're trying to price it based on what you would pay for it. If you're not your ideal client, who cares? Especially if you're a broke coach, don't price your stuff based on what a broke coach would pay for something. If I give a health transformation or if I give a wealth transformation or a relationship transformation to Justin Bieber, that might be worth $50 million to him. If I said, if I got you this result, what would it be worth to you? You'd be like, oh, like 50 mil. But if I gave it to the same person down the street from me right now, they might say it's worth $500. All it is perceived value in the person's eyes. So here's how I built confidence real quick. I looked at it and I wrote down my ideal client. What do they struggle with right now? Step number one, go into detail. Depression, their relationship sucks. they're not making enough money, which makes them feel like they're not good enough and they're overweight and whatever it is. Go into detail. The second thing is if they keep going through this for a year, 5 years, or 10 years, not meeting you, what will life be like then? You keep going in depth and like emotionalizing it. If they buy your competitor's stuff, this is step number 3, what's the problem? Like, why are you different than your competitor? Like, what's the problem with your competitor right now? They're not giving them enough time. They don't care about the client. They won't over deliver. They charge too much, like whatever it is. The next step is what would be the solution to that person's problem? That's your product. Describe your product, why it's the best. If they run into that product and they go through it, what will life be like? And the last thing, in 1 year, 5 year, and 10 year, after they go through your product or service, what will life be like? And I did this every day. And I just put it into a square chart and I filled them all in every single day. And so every day I went out there with conviction. I went on a webinar with conviction. I followed up with conviction because I knew that this is what they're struggling with. And if I don't do anything, they're going to go with someone else. They're not going to be happy. So I have to get this service. I have to get this product out into the people's hands with conviction every day.
Wow. Yeah, you always hear that, the person with the most guaranteed conviction is the one that wins. So I love that. So
just a quick joke real quick. I'm sorry I have to interrupt, but someone on Instagram said, I want you on my network marketing downline. That's what they said. And I said, well, I don't want to be in your network marketing downline. Whoever wants it more is going to win. Because I'm like, I don't want it and you do want it. I bet you I don't want it more than you do want it. Like, I'm even convicted in that. And so it's so funny sometimes when you mess with people that way.
That's awesome. That's awesome, dude. So yeah, why don't you tell us a bit about like high ticket programs and why you believe that they're so key and kind of your top tips in terms of putting it together and selling it.
Absolutely. So I host a live event, and that's where we do a lot of high ticket sales. And what's cool is that people at the live event, for the guys that actually invest with us, we actually show them exactly what I did at the event to get the high ticket sales, which is hilarious. It's called Billion Dollar Body Live. And we do it June 14th through 16th this year. But like basically some of the best ways to do high ticket sales is to somehow get people to raise their hand. So this is kind of the process that I use to make sure that I have a flow for high ticket sales when it comes from most people are really good at 3 of the 5. So the number 1 is going to be lead gen. Like, how are you getting people to know who you are? Are you getting something out there? Like, so many people will complain that they're not getting clients, but they're not doing anything to get themselves in front of people. So lead gen's number 1. Lead nurture is number 2. Email follow-up sequences, consistent posts on social media, follow-up, call, text, message, like whatever it is, lead nurture. Like, how are you giving them value even if they're not buying? Or even if they bought, how are you consistently staying in front of them? The third one is conversion, which is where the actual sales process happens, whether that's on online, whether it's a sheet of paper, whether it's on the phone, whether it's video, it doesn't matter. The third one or the fourth one is going to be deliverable. What is your product? And the fifth one is retention, resell, and upsell. This is where the power comes in with coaches because you want to look at the lifetime value of a client, right? If you sold a group coaching package, let's say, for $2,000 and you're like, oh man, that took so much work. But then you found out later that those people upgrade to your one-on-one coaching later. And so they bought both and now they've invested $20,000 with you. All of a sudden the mindset shifts. You're like, I'm going to get as many people into my group coaching as possible. I don't care what it costs. And so that's where the power lays. So with all 5 of those things, I look at how do I rate these 1 through 5? What are the things that are working and what are the things that aren't working? And then what are the things I want to focus on? The majority of coaches are either good at one or the other. Low ticket coaches are usually good at lead gen, lead nurture, and conversion, but their deliverable isn't good and no one really stays. You've maybe seen some of these courses online. Everyone buys them. Everyone thinks they suck, but somehow people still go out there and buy a bunch of them. The second type of person, which is what I believe most of the coaches I'm talking to here today and most of the ones that I help in our community are the people that are really good at conversion, really good at deliverable, and really good at retention, resell, and upsell, but just really haven't mastered the process of getting enough people in the pipeline. So many people think that they suck because they're like, I'm not making that much money. But if you look, like they're not reaching enough people. And so one of the cool things I believe is that when you go out there and reach enough people, getting your face in front of people with the content that you're looking to share. And there's 3 types of content that I believe every single coach should put out there. Number 1 should be about the mission and vision that you have that's bigger than a product or service. For us, that's redefining what it means to be a businessman, that you cannot be a businessman unless you're 3-dimensional. 1-dimensional is out. You're not the guy that wears clothes that don't fit you, that smokes and drinks and does drugs and sacrifices family. That does not fly in our community. We're changing that. Notice some people right here now will be like, I connect with that. Yet you have no clue what I do. So that's the first type of content you can create. Video, doesn't matter. Second type of content is your story. You heard my story and how I've overcome. Now I'm married for 7 years, created 7-figure business and multiple 6-figure businesses. And I lost the 60 pounds, and you can see over here, like I'm wearing a BDB t-shirt to the gym. Like you have to be confident to wear one of those. And so you can see the transformation when you tell the overcoming story that allows people to get connected to you. The third type of content is going to be something along the lines of taking a random object and teaching about it. Similar to if I were to have this water bottle and I were to say, if I were to go outside right now and I were to water plants outside, I only have a limited amount of water in this water bottle. And no matter how much I pour out and pour out and pour out, at some point I'm going to run out. And the only way that I can consistently give is if I consistently get filled up. One of the best ways that I found to get filled up is to come to live events where you get to meet good people and get the best type of information so that you can not only increase your capacity of water that you can hold, but it actually fills you up so that you can start giving to more people again, right? It's like I took something that was totally like random right here, and I was able to give people an epiphany and go, I need to go to a live event because I feel burnt out and I can't keep giving. I need to get given to. So those are the 3 types of content that I use to get more people into the pipeline, and so that you can fill up your lead gen, get your lead nurture down. One of the best ways I found this for high ticket is Facebook groups. You always want their email. You always want to make sure that you have their phone number, all these different things. But outside of that, it's really tough for people to sit there and feel community inside of an email. And it's really tough to sit there and blast them with text message every single day. And so one of the best ways I found is inside of a Facebook group, consistently nurturing them through content there so that each phase is them raising their hand. When they see a video or listen to a podcast just like this, there's a few people here today that'll raise their hand and be like, I like this guy. You know what? I'm going to go download his free offer, or I'm going to go maybe go to his live event, or I'm going to go to his Facebook group. That's raising your hand. You're like, I express interest in this whole thing. The next thing would be like, what's the best thing for you? And so this is the whole sales process. I apologize for going so far on this, but this is the sales process as a coach. This is how you get high ticket clients that legitimately want to actually close. First, they have to raise their hand and say, I'm interested in this subject. And one of my mentors, Jay Abraham, taught me this. He coached Tony Robbins. He still does a session with Tony Robbins every year. It's $100,000 just to get a coaching session with him. So I'm sitting down with him and he goes, Nicholas, it's kind of like this water bottle again. This water bottle is getting famous. Congrats, Russell Brunson, on your 2 Comma Club thing. So he goes, kind of like this water bottle. If I were to talk about water, there's a certain amount of people that would say, I have value for water. I can see how water is important. So they raise their hand. You never try to sell someone who doesn't think that what you do or the transformation that you're creating is valuable, right? I'm not going to try to sell someone who wants to create, I'm like, you want to learn how you can make 6 figures? The person's like, no. And I'm like, well, you should. Like, no, that's not what you want. I want to make sure that if I talk about water, they go, I have value for water. The next step is to figure out, instead of having a customer, which is someone who buys a commodity or a product, you want to have a client. A client is someone who's underneath your protection. So then it's the game of figuring out, well, what's the best type of water and how much should you have for you? Getting specific to the thing that would be tailored to that person. And if that next step, the third step, is getting them to take action on whatever that is. And if that's you, then great. If not, it's someone else. And so your job as a closer, a high-ticket closer, or maybe you're someone who doesn't want to actually do the closing, is to get them to get through that process. They raise their hand. They say, I know what you do is valuable, or the subject is valuable. But what's the best thing for me, right? I know being healthy is valuable, but what's the plan for my goals? You show them the plan for their goals. And if the best step is to work with you, it's your job now to get them to bridge that gap. Now, the last thing real quick that I think is super important, after years of doing this, it got to the point where I felt like, yeah, I could sit there and close people on the phone, but it kind of felt weird sitting there and talking to people all the time that had never paid me. I thought, I have all these people that are investing with me that want my help, but instead of spending more time helping them, I'm on the phone talking to people that have never, ever bought from me to get them to buy more. And that just at some point hit a tipping point, and I was like, there's no way I can do this. So the only next steps were to either hire people and train them. The problem with an entrepreneur a lot of times, or a coach, is that they're good at coaching, but they're not that good at knowing how to create a sales system, how to create a follow-up system. They've just been winging it because they're talented. And so that's where they have to decide whether they hire someone in, they have people come bring education, they fork up a ton of money to have people come in and figure everything out for them, or figure out outsource sales like some of my friends do, or Six Pack Shortcut does. All of them work, but the big thing is not getting stuck to any core thing. Like, you shouldn't ever be stuck as a coach, coaching forever, and you shouldn't be stuck on the phone forever by yourself either. You want to duplicate yourself and stick with your strengths. And I think that's a big part for coaches, as long as they're trying to grow and scale. If you're just trying to have a couple clients and like do it all yourself, then awesome. I just probably won't want to hang out with you because I like people that like to grow.
I love that. So you say that that's a big kind of mindset shift, right? For coaches, that they have to, in order to scale, they have to change their mindset around what they're spending their time on. So tell us a bit more about that and what you think are the best ways to do that.
Yeah, so this is the best thing that I believe a coach can do right now, is to write down everything that goes on inside of their business. And most of them don't have a real business, like meaning they're not structured correctly. I went through this as well. So you write down everything that's going on in the business. And when you write that down, you write next to it, do I like this? Check mark, yes or no. Am I good at this? Check mark, yes or no. And the last one that's so powerful is, do I need to do this? And so let's say you love taking out the trash and you're really good at it, but the last one is, I don't need to do it. Well, that's great. So the first things you want to get real on is the ones that you don't need to do. So many people think that they need to sell or need to coach. Like, that's just stupid. Like, no, you don't need to sell or need to coach. Like, someone else in the world can do that for you. But of course, if you like it and you're good at it, those are the first things to keep. That's where you want to stay in your lane. But the first things you either want to remove from your business and life are the things that you're not good at, you don't like to do, and you don't need to do them. Maybe that's posting an article that isn't doing anything for you. Every single day you're spending all this time. It takes so much time to do it. It's so stressful, but it's not even generating any leads. But you feel like you need to do it every day. X that thing out. The second thing you can do with it is outsource it to other people. So if you don't like it, you suck at it, and you don't need to do it, those are the first things you want to offload. If you're good at it but you don't like it, suck it up until you can figure that out. Set a goal to make it get to the next level. So that's the way that I break everything down. And that way I can see, how can I consistently work in my strengths?
I love that. Awesome. So we're kind of getting to the end here, and something that people have requested me to talk more about is, and I know that you're a 2-comma club winner, so you can kind of speak to this, is like the best kind of strategies going into 2019, and specifically around sales and lead generation. So can you share with us right now, like, what are some things that are working for you when it comes to that, and what you would recommend?
Yeah, so I think always keeping it simple is always a big deal. I think for most coaches, they should go back to having one core offer, like one core thing that they sell that then contributes to their other offers that they have, if they even have other ones. So one of the best things they can do is do one of two things. Throughout the year, having an opt-in, something to get people to raise their hand, that's a case study, that's something with tons of testimonials, that then goes to a actual form that people can fill out to fill out an application and work with you. It's like the simplest thing in the world, but everyone thinks that they have to have like this upsell, downsell, and sell things online as well, like all these crazy mojos, which is totally cool, but you're listening to this podcast because you want to sell high-ticket things. The best way to do that is to track people that are highly motivated, push on their pain point, meaning that the worst pain in the world is chronic pain because people will live with it for 40 years, but it's not enough pain to change it. Your job is to push on that pain until it becomes extreme pain so that they need a change. And the only way they can change is through your offer. And so that's the first thing, getting somehow people to raise their hand through a video, through in person, to an opt-in that attracts your ideal client, that then goes to an application page, that then goes to book a phone call. Super simple, very easy to do. You could have someone build it for like $500. I know a guy, my guy can do it for you. It doesn't matter. Super simple. Well, and a good funnel, by the way, for people that want to know, is like 12 grand at least. Okay. So if you're cheap, you have to buy again, but it's simple and you can get it done if you're just starting out. The second thing is that I believe people are sleeping on, as my marketing guy from Chicago would say. He's like, nah, dude, people are sleeping on this routine right here. I'm like, sleeping on it? What do you mean? He's like, they're snoozing. Like, I don't know what that means. They're missing it. And so one of the big things people are missing is the power of live events. The power of live events is so great. I remember my first live event I put on, I had a small community of people, and I thought, what's the best thing that they need right now? They need to network with other like-minded individuals that also are interested in the same thing. So I said, let's put on the live event. We put on this live event. We had 100 attendees. We had 81 paying attendees at this event. And at that event, I thought, what's the biggest thing that they need help with right now? Instead of trying to figure out the product that I could just like shove down their throat, I thought, like, what's the product that would solve their problem right now? So I put it together. I made it $10,000. So I thought, I'll make it kind of inexpensive for this first year to see if it'll work. I was like, I'll make it 25 spots because I believe in urgency and scarcity. Mm-hmm. And I went up there and I served these people with an amazing live event that was getting them to networking and building so much rapport, right? Lead nurture. This was a lead nurture process. And then I said, hey guys, I have this $10,000 program. Of course, it was a lot better than this. And we sold it all out. And so I was like, this is interesting. We did $250,000 in one day. I might be onto something here. Like, a lot of people try to do everything online all the time, but I found a strength in live events. So no matter what your strength is, whether it's online or whether it's in person, use those two different strategies of either high ticket leads through application or through going out there and actually creating a live event to get your ideal audience in, to serve them really well in a short period of time, and to offer them something that's going to solve their problem, get them to take action on it. Now, last thing, this is so ninja. I'll just give them one little tip because I teach some of my guys this and it's just too good just to give it all away. So in an application, you want tie-down questions. This isn't like, well, why have you been struggling with this problem for so long? Like, that's cool, but it's not going to make them want to buy after a review. Like, well, you said like, this is the reason why you've been struggling with this. No, one question you can put on your application is, why is right now that you need a coach for XYZ? And they'll say, well, right now is the reason, or the time, because I've been looking at this forever and I've been wanting to do it and I finally filled out the application. Now I'm pulling the trigger. And then they get on the phone with you and they go, well, I'll think about it. And you go, hey, I know, but if I can't actually get you to take action as a coach right now, well, then what kind of coach would I be? It says right here in your application that the time to take action is right now because of XYZ. Tie-down questions are amazing. They keep people committed to the sale. So ask questions in your application that are tie-down questions.
Love it. Love it. And kind of speaking on the live event thing too, tell us where people can come see you speak soon.
Yeah, so our personal live event is for men only. Again, we're creating three-dimensional businessmen. These are men that want to have success without sacrifice, meaning that we have the top health experts, top relationship experts, but of course the top business experts because it's business men only. This live event is going to be June 14th to 16th in San Diego, so it's like vacation destination. We do ridiculous things that most events don't do. I've been to over 130 live events. Every quarter, I at least go to an event that I attend, though I actually usually invest at least $10,000 per event personally. That's not the investment for this event. It's very applicable. Every single person can do it as long as they know how to sell cans through recycling. You can afford to come to the live event. So at the live event, the biggest thing, again, is to equip these businessmen to go have success without sacrifice, to build a business and a network with like-minded men. We do this before the event. We have connection calls. And then at the event, I know how awkward it is to go to lunch and you don't know anyone. So I actually already bought everyone's lunches so that they could all sit there and network and everything like that. So there's so many things that go into it. But the biggest thing is that there's a man out there that wants to take his business and his life to the next level, but also wants to be surrounded by people that are doing the same. And so they don't feel like they're all alone, but they're with a flock. B2BLive.com is the way to go.
Awesome. And is there anywhere else that people can find you and connect with you that you like to connect with people?
Yeah, Instagram's so fun because I'm always like jumping on stories. So it's Instagram.com/Nicholas Bayerle or just Nicholas Bayerle on Instagram. I'd love to connect. Just send me a message.
Awesome. Sweet. Well, thank you so much for being on this podcast and sharing all your insights. I definitely learned a lot. I think I'm going to re-listen to this and take notes. So thanks a lot for being here.
Thank you so much.